Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. The Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana schools are grappling with how to keep students safe in the wake of another deadly school shooting. Among the deterrents, some districts are considering making guns available for teachers and school staff.
And we're not focusing on the politics, we're focusing on what is it going to take to keep these kids safe in our schools.
The EPA is declaring a superfund site in a central Indiana community. Chemicals that have been linked to cancer are threatening the water supply. Ahead, why some residents are more concerned about the impact on the city's businesses than on their own health. Plus, volunteers have been working for more than a year to restore this historic church. Coming up, a look at the building's history and its ties to the state's African American heritage. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Barbara Brozier, sitting in this week for Joe Wren. A teacher and student have been hospitalized in Indianapolis following a shooting this morning at Noblesville West Middle School. The district sits about 20 miles northeast of Indianapolis. Police were called to the school just after 9 this morning for a report of shots fired. During a press briefing, officers said they have a male student who they believe is the shooter in custody.
The collaboration between all law enforcement agencies has been tremendous, and we're so grateful that everyone was so quick to respond and help us through this tragedy.
Police say the investigation will be time-consuming and that it has only just begun. They're asking people for patience and to keep praying for the victims. Incidents like the one in Noblesville have many school districts across the state wondering what they can do to keep students safe. Indiana is one of the few states that allows school districts to arm teachers. It's a controversial approach that President Donald Trump supports to help in active shooter situations. And an increasing number of districts here are considering that option. The flags at schools across Jay County flew at half-staff earlier this week.
The Parkland shooting was a real wake-up call. It's just been time and time again, these things continue to happen even as late as this past week.
It's a sight that's become all too common across the country, and the tragedies are making their way into students' everyday routines.
After their Pledge of Allegiance, they always do a moment of silence, and they did a little bit extra long for the victims in the last school shooting, so they are aware of it.
The increase in school shootings is something Jay School Corporation leaders say they could no longer ignore. It's why what used to be a library at East Elementary School is now a construction zone.
You can see in that glass, that's all going to get taken out, and there's going to be a set of secure vestibules before you can get into the office, and then you're vetted in the office, and then once vetted, you can get access to the rest of the school.
It's part of a lengthy security policy the school board here approved earlier this month. The district is working to establish single entry points at the front of every school and putting bullet-resistant film over all the windows. There are also plans to hire retired police officers to work as security. But the superintendent says that alone doesn't address the biggest obstacle his district faces in a crisis: police response time.
So the average response time is 10 minutes. And again, we're a very rural school corporation. So we know from studying these active shootings that they start and end before police can typically get there.
The district will now give administrators, teachers, and support staff who volunteer access to gun safes with firearms in the event of an active shooting. About 10% of the district's employees have already volunteered. They'll have to go through a series of interviews and a psychological evaluation before getting access to the guns. Volunteers will also have to undergo 26 hours of training. Gully says he sees it as the best option to keep students safe.
What we do know is that the quickest response time is to have an armed teacher in every classroom. You can't get faster than that. But there's risks associated with that I'm not willing to take as a superintendent of schools.
The decision was relatively easy for the district. Jay County is a rural, conservative area where guns are part of the way of life. More than 250 people responded to a survey about whether the district should give employees access to guns, and 95% were in favor of it. That includes the county sheriff.
We have a lot of times only one officer on at a time. Sometimes we have two. Cities are the same way. So if it happens inside one of the city schools, that's okay. We have rural community schools where it takes us longer to respond to those.
The department is already looking into making cameras inside the schools accessible to dispatchers so they can relay information to officers about what's happening in the event of a shooting. But the approach Jay County is taking is one Indiana's top school chief has expressed concerns about. She's against having teachers armed in schools.
The educators I've talked to, the students I've talked to, families and parents that I've talked to, I haven't found any to date that have said that's a good idea.
A small number of people in Jay County do think giving educators access to guns is wrong. They worry even with hours of training, they aren't equipped to react properly with a gun in a crisis situation.
You could have some kid that may have just a toy gun. Well, they shoot him, well, what happens?
But as Jamie Ballard waits to pick her kids up from school, she feels more secure, knowing some of the people inside will be armed if they need to be.
If they need to use that force, then good, because they're going to be protecting my children and my friends' children, our community, and they're going to be there first before the police. And if they can stop it before they can, it's good.
Now, Gully says he's unsure how much the new security measures will cost or how the district will pay for them. The new policies will be implemented gradually, but he expects the district will have guns available to some staff members as early as next school year. North White School Corporation also has a policy allowing some employees to be armed. It went into effect in 2014 and allows administrators and school board members to carry concealed weapons. The Environmental Protection Agency recently declared a superfund site in Spencer. A groundwater site there is contaminated with a chemical the EPA says has been linked to cancer. But as Rebecca Thiel reports, town officials say the water is safe to drink.
Residents gathered at a town council meeting this week to learn more about what the EPA's Superfund designation could mean.
They will be planning a full investigation of the site. She said that they have a detailed plan on what they will be doing going forward with.
The site is contaminated with PCE, a chemical used in dry cleaning or to get grease off metal. BBP Water Corporation, which treats some of the town's water, says it's been working for years to clean up the contamination and has gotten rid of most of it.
All we're doing is being proactive and making sure that we're doing everything we can, and we've worked with IDEM and making sure that we're treating the water and putting out the safest water we can to our customers.
The Indiana Department of Environmental Management says the PCE in the water is at safe levels. Town Attorney Richard Lorenz says the town is grateful for the EPA's help in finishing the cleanup, but he doesn't want residents to get the wrong idea.
We appreciate that. On the other hand, we don't want the implication to relay to people that there is any danger to them or to their families or to the general business climate that we're trying to maintain here.
Many Spencer residents agree. They're not worried about the water quality as much as they are about the economic impact of the Superfund designation.
We have lately been on a very big boom revitalizing the town. And so my biggest concern was, how will this hinder that?
White sits on several boards in town that try to promote economic growth and rejuvenate the community. Much of that revitalization is happening on Franklin Street, in the area of the Superfund site. After years of little commerce on the downtown square, Spencer has seen restaurants, stores, coffee shops, and a theater open their doors to the public. White fears that could all be at risk.
Not only is the water that I'm drinking healthy, but the water that we're serving to the moviegoers is safe.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
The EPA doesn't yet know where the contamination came from or where it's going. IDEM identified no less than 9 facilities that could have caused the PCE plume. Now for headlines, we go over to Lindsay Wright, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Barbara. Akram Musleh, the Brownsburg man accused of trying to join the Islamic State, has pleaded guilty to terrorism. Authorities arrested Musleh 2 years ago as he tried to leave the country and fly to a territory controlled by the Islamic State. He's charged with attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. Musleh faces up to 20 years in prison and a maximum fine of $250,000. An IU professor says he fears as states try to crack down on opioid prescriptions, the elderly may end up being undertreated and could turn to illegal drugs for relief. McKinney School of Law professor Nicholas Terry spoke before the Senate Special Committee on Aging earlier this week.
Because of chronic pain, the near elderly and elderly likely will be longer-term users of opioids. Medication sensitivity increases with age, polypharmacy heightens risks associated with SUD, drug hoarding and drug sharing are common.
Terry says half of elderly Americans suffer from a chronic pain disorder and are regularly prescribed opioids. Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly facilitated Terry's appearance before the Senate. Former Vigo County Schools Administrator Frank Fennell must report to federal prison by June 6th. Last week, a judge denied his request to delay his report date by 2 weeks. Instead, the judge granted a 1-week delay. Fennell will serve 2 years in prison after being convicted in a kickback scheme that cost Vigo County Schools more than $100,000. Orange County leaders say they may not be able to pay Indiana University Health an increase in charges for ambulance services. IU Health officials presented commissioners with a new contract that would up the county's annual payments from $21,000 a year to more than $200,000. That's in addition to the cost of the ambulance the community replaces every 4 years.
All I can say is I saw the figures they presented to the commissioners, and they were definitely losing money every year on ambulance services. Now, if those figures are correct or not, I don't know, but I assume they are.
Brewer says he doesn't think the county can afford the increased payments, and they may have to work with an outside company for ambulance services if they can't reach a deal. IU Health did not respond to a request for comment. Nearly 100 residents attended a Richland Bean Blossom School Board meeting this week, and a small group even protested outside the meeting. They're upset about an error that led to a property tax increase, which created about a $1 million surplus for the school board. The district decided to keep the money to pay down its bonds rather than return it to taxpayers.
They're proving that they're voting ignorantly on matters that have to do with finance, and that's the problem. And that's what we try to discuss, and that's what we try to fix. They don't hear us. They listen, but they don't action.
The same board voted last year to close Steinsville Elementary at the end of this school year, citing the high costs to keep it running. Well, that didn't sit well with some residents. The board voted to approve a contract with a banking firm. Members say the firm will help the district prepare its budgets and review its finances, in part to help prevent future errors. An invasive vine could be spreading across the state. Experts found the mile-a-minute vine in Monroe County. It's dead now, but they say it likely won't be the last we see of the plant. Mile-a-minute vine earned its name because it can grow up to 6 inches a day. The vine is known to choke sunlight to other plants.
It doesn't take long and you have a complete carpet over a tree plantation, over a field, over crops. And we don't want to see our native vegetation or our agricultural crops be impacted by a species like this.
The mile-a-minute vine is native to East Asia and likely hitched a ride to the U.S. on imported nursery plants. Even though the vine is dead, officials say it's possible that seeds could have spread. A group in Kokomo is building a path along a dangerous section of Wildcat Creek. The path will allow paddlers to pull their canoes or kayaks out of the river so they can avoid a low-head dam. Now, these dams can be deadly because people can get trapped in the churning water at the dam's base.
We know that it's unlikely the water company is ever going to remove that dam. There's only one solution to this, it seems like to us, and that's to build the trail around it, and that would be a good thing, I think, for the community and for everyone concerned.
The Department of Homeland Security says at least 24 people have died in Indiana dams since 1997. And Barbara, I've done some reporting in the past on these dams. You want to avoid them at all costs.
Especially with a lot of people being on the water this Memorial Day
Exactly.
weekend, I'm sure. Thanks, Lindy.
You're welcome. Lindsay. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Volunteers are bringing new life to a historic Black church in West Baden. Coming up, a story on the church's history and its future. And a Memorial Day tribute in Vigo County honors those who died in Iraq and Afghanistan. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
$10,000.
15? 15, you think?
20, 21,000?
600.
20. 18 fine.
24.
It's at least 40.
Look, dude, look at it.
4,500,000.
650.
20.
650.
This textile would be worth about $500,000.
$500,000?
No way.
I knew it. It's just a blanket.
Laying on the back of a chair. Well, sir, you have a national treasure.
Wow.
A national treasure. Congratulations.
I can't believe this.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. West Baden's historic First Baptist Church was once considered one of the most endangered landmarks in the state. But now it's on its way to holding its first service in decades. As Sophia Salaby reports, it's all thanks to a group of volunteers.
It's a Friday in West Baden, which means work is just starting for a small group of volunteers coming from Bloomington's Second Baptist Church. They've been making the trip twice a week for about a year to restore the town's historic all-black church, one of the only standing structures tied to the city's African-American heritage.
We're trying to keep everything authentic and as original as possible.
Elizabeth Mitchell is part of that team. While other volunteers fix walls and windows in the small white church building, Mitchell is trying to find some of the names of the church's original congregation, who worshiped in West Baden more than 100 years ago.
We are in the process of finding out who those people are. We have found about 10, and we have found descendants of 2 so far.
Black workers from the West Baden Springs Hotel built the church in 1920. The hotel's owner, Lee Sinclair, sold them the property because he wanted to provide a place of worship to his employees.
They had their own everything: hotels, churches, restaurants, places to party for social activities. And because of segregation, you had to have your own everything.
But a lot of those structures that served as the center of life for the African American community in West Baden no longer exist, making it all the more important to keep the church standing.
The Wadi Hotel is burnt down, the Babylon burnt down. We've lost a lot of our historical buildings because they're made out of wood, and of course they're going to burn down. So we need to save that church.
The church hosted several congregations in the 20th century, but the building has sat empty since the early 90s, when the last surviving member of the church donated it to a local historical society. Later, the town of West Baden took ownership.
The whole town is getting spruced up. Homes, dilapidated homes are being torn down. New sidewalks are being put in. Flooding issues are being addressed. But this church just sits there and just gets, in worse and worse shape.
The historic preservation group Indiana Landmarks put the church on its endangered landmarks list in 2014. After that, the Southeastern District Association of the Indiana Missionary Baptist State Convention sought to buy the building. The West Baden Town Council sold it to them for $1, with the group promising to restore and reopen the church.
What we're doing is revisiting $1 because Mr. Sinclair, the owner of the West Baden Hotel back in the 1900s, had sold this lot for $1.
Mitchell says once the church is restored, they'll have no problem finding a new congregation to fill the building on Sundays.
We have people that are already arguing about who is going to sit in the front row.
Another volunteer with the project, Thomas Doyle Sr., agrees.
They're opening their arms like they've never done before. I mean, they've just been overabundantly appreciative of what we're doing.
Mitchell says the biggest challenge right now is getting funding. They're about $50,000 short of a $200,000 goal. But she says the fact that they've gotten this far speaks to the importance of the project for the community.
They most certainly deserve to be remembered. And this community it was such a large community, and to be forgotten would have been a shame. And so now is the time. It's the time to tell stories of African Americans.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sophia Salaby.
Kokomo Mayor Greg Goodnight took questions from Kokomo High School students earlier this week. Goodnight fielded questions from students about everything from whether he gets enough time with his family to how a new baseball stadium is bringing development to the city.
What kind of big decisions do you make as mayor?
Well, I would say our budget, when you consider our general fund, all the tax money that comes through, our grants, and our funding from the wastewater treatment plant, our total annual revenue, it's about $85 million. The big decisions I feel like we make is the point of prioritizing things. What do we, my job, it should be to have a grasp of what's going on in the community.
What kind of revenue or economic benefit has the stadium downtown brought to the city of Kokomo?
There's new luxury apartments being built across the street from the stadium. David Flaherty, the owner of one of the two partners of the company, he said when they announced the project, he said if it wasn't for that stadium, they would not be investing $32 million in downtown Kokomo. And what that does is once you have one project, you hope that it fuels the second, which creates a kind of a dominoes effect on good projects.
Do you have time for your family?
I would say when you do have time to reflect on it, sometimes I'll have to go to a meeting in Indy or someplace, and then I'll kind of get, when I'm by myself in the car, and I'll kind of think, I really haven't spent enough time. But it's hard. It is hard, and I can't say I'm really good at it. I try to do the best I can, just like everybody else, but sometimes better than others.
Indianapolis Museum of Art officials say they're mourning the loss of an Indiana artist after he died at the age of 89. Artist Robert Indiana is best known for his iconic love sculpture. He died Saturday at his secluded island home off the coast of Maine, but he's originally from Indiana. While the pieces are well known around the globe, the original sculpture has been at the IMA since 1975.
I don't think that people know that this is the original. So this is much larger in scale, it's a different material than all of the others, so that's what makes it unique for Indiana, and I think that's why it's here.
The 12-foot tall sculpture is made of steel and can be seen in the IMA's Pulliam Family Great Hall. It was moved inside after a conservationist recommendation due to deterioration. Well, if you plan to travel this Memorial Day weekend, expect to pay more at the pump. Indiana is tied with California for the largest gas price increase, 66 cents a gallon in the U.S. over the past year. The price of a gallon of gasoline in Indiana surged last week to $2.84. We found prices in Terre Haute at $3.09 a gallon. A moving tribute to service members in Terre Haute's Veterans Memorial Park is dotted with nearly 7,000 flags. It honors Americans who have died in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. James Hicks is a veteran of the Marine Corps. He says the memorial is a sobering reminder of the lives lost in overseas conflicts.
I've just recently moved into Terre Haute. I heard about the flags being put up for Memorial Day, and I wanted to come over and check it out. It's pretty sobering. I mean, I knew that we were losing people over there, but I sat down and did the math, and roughly, from what I understand, the trail's about a mile long, and there's flags on each side of it, so that'd be 2 miles worth of flags about every 18 inches apart, and that adds up to be a little over 7,000 flags. You know, we've become so desensitized to the Iraq and Afghanistan conflict to realize that we've lost over 7,000 people there. That there's a lot of veterans out there that they don't feel like the country owes them anything. They just did their job, and they don't even look into seeing what benefits are available to them out there. There's a lot of homeless veterans that are just too proud to put a hand out for help. And it's time we as a country remembered our veterans and the sacrifice that they were willing to make.
Certainly a moving tribute. Well, that's the end of this program. Our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great holiday weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. The Radio and TV News Endowment, a fund established by listeners and viewers to sustain reporting of Indiana news. More information at indianapublicmedia.org/support. And by WTIU members. Thank you.